A few days after that, he felt even greater. He started grieving, becoming more sick. It just kept on creeping onto him. So he kept saying to his wives, where shall I stay tomorrow? Where shall I stay tomorrow? Now, why would he have said this to his wives? Because he had his wives gathered. And he asked them, where am I tomorrow? Where am I tomorrow? And his sickness is growing. What does he mean by this? What was he trying to get out of this? Huh? He wanted to be in the house of Zainab or who? Or the house of Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha. So he spent the last week of his life in the house of Aisha bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. And there his sickness just kept on growing and growing until one day he said to Aisha, I feel that death is approaching me. I feel that death is approaching me. So she leant him against her chest in her home. And she used to say that one of the greatest, one of the greatest, one of the greatest blessings of Allah upon me is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam died in my house while I am still alive. He died between my neck and my chest while leaning against me. And then she said, Allah mixed my saliva with his saliva at the time of death. Now how could this be? Naam Abdul Rahman. Very good. The answer is correct. Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Bakr, he entered the room where Prophet ﷺ was lying down. And in his hand he had a what? A siwak. What's a siwak? Toothbrush? Toothbrush. Is it made out of plastic or a rubber?
It's made of wood.
Out of wood. It's a toothbrush, is it?
You can say that.
You can say that. Very good. So, a siwak was being held by Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. And Aisha saw that Rasulullah sallam was eyeing, looking at what? The siwak. So she said, Ya Rasulullah, do you want me to get you the siwak? He nodded in the affirmative, in agreement, yes. So she got him the siwak. Now when she got him the siwak, Mahbub, what happens if the siwak has been away from the mouth for a while?
It's dry.
Dry? Why does it get dry?
It's not wet.
It's not wet. So what do you do to make it wet again?
You have to chew the top of it.
Chew the top of it. Do you eat it as well? Does it taste good? It tastes very nice actually. So it was rough because it was not used for a while. So Aisha said to him, would you like me to soften it for you? He again nodded in what? Agreement. Yes, Ya Aisha. See, he was so sick that he could not even speak. That's how sick Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was. So she softened it by putting it in her mouth with her saliva, and then she gave it to her, to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he brushed his teeth very, very fine, as best as he could. And then he put his hand in a rakwa, which is a container that was next to him that had water. Hamakallah. And then he wiped his face with the water saying, La ilaha illallah, inna lil mawti la sakarat. La ilaha illallah, inna lil mawti la sakarat. Indeed, death is full of agonies, he said. Indeed, death is what? Brothers and sisters, who are we talking about here? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. If death for him was full of agonies, can you imagine us? Now who are we? If the greatest creature that walked this earth, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, ibn Abdul Muttalib, was full of agonies at the time of death, prepare yourself. Get ready. Don't waste time, because it's definitely going to be full of agonies for us. Now, after he completed his siwak, he raised his finger to the sky, looked upwards, and started moving his lips. To which Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when she saw his lips moving, she listened attentively to exactly what he is saying. And what did he say? No prophet is taken by death until he is shown his place in paradise, in Jannah. And then he is given the choice between the life of this world and the life of the next, al-akhirah. And then she heard him say, مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ مَعَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ. With those on whom you have favored, with the prophets, the truthful, the martyrs, and the righteous. Then he said, Oh Allah, forgive me and have mercy on me. And then in his intervals before he died, he said, مَعَ الرَّفِيقِ الْأَعْلَى, with the most exalted companionship on high. And that was the last breath, in a very brief explanation, the last breath of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.